Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this guide, I'm going to be covering hot dropping in Apex. Hot dropping in Apex refers to landing in a highly contested and popular area of the map. And they're popular for good reason. Look at all this wonderful.
What is this game?
Seriously, why is there still white shields and helmets on ground look when you literally spawn with one? Please fix respawn. Well, these popular areas can lead to intense and action-packed gameplay, as you can immediately engage in combat with other players. Or you can lead you straight back to the lobby and wait a whole 4 minutes to get back into the match. Seriously, they need to fix the loading windows in this game. There are many benefits of hot dropping in Apex. 1, you get to actually play the game and not loot all day. 2, you actually get practice on your gun and movement skills. And 3, it's the catalyst of earning the coveted. So let's learn how to make your hot drops more effective. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to choose your hot drop location, how to drop quicker than others, and how to prioritize your loot and much more. Let's get into it. The first tip is choosing your hot drops. How do you know which one to pick? Hot drops become hot drops depending on a couple of factors. The first factor, it depends on the flight path. Usually the first POI underneath the drop ship when the timer's finished counting down is the biggest hot drop. And if you don't know what POI means for you non-nerds out there, it means point of interest. One POI can be super popular in one game and not in another because of how far it is from the flight path of the drop ship. So if you want to drop hot, choose a really popular POI underneath the dropship's path. Factor number 2, pick a POI that has a lot of loot. These popular POIs often and potentially have high tier loot or a lot of loot, allowing you to get enough ammo and meds to engage in fights quickly and have
Why do you have a job? Why is there 3 armors? Why?
Lastly, some POIs become popular hot drops because they were popularized by the movement potential they offer and have become popularized by YouTubers and Twitch TVers that love to drop there so they can get those and videos for their YouTube channels. Some of the popular hot drops in each map are Fragment, East and West, and World's Edge, especially these buildings, which were coined the streamer buildings, and sometimes Lava Siphon. Literally, that's all for World's Edge. People really love Fragment East and West. In the Olympus map, you have quite a few. You have Bonsai Plaza, Energy Depot, Estates, Power Grid, and Docks. In the Stormpoint map, you have Barometer, Launchpad, Pylon, Zoo Station, Cascade Falls, Command Center, and Cyto Station. In Broken Moon, you have Terraformer, The Core, Promenade, and Biomix. Biomix? Biomix? Is that right? I don't know. And for Kings Canyon, you could just skip that map and play something else until the map rotates. Seriously, why do you have to play a whole map rotation for an hour and 30 minutes? Rotate the maps every 30 minutes, Respawn. Include all the maps. Please fix. Okay, sorry for getting sidetracked, but seriously, Kings Canyon is a good map now that we have deployable jump towers, which were introduced later in the seasons. So now you don't have to walk everywhere. Some of the good King Canyon POIs are The Cage, Containment, Crash Site, Relic, aka Skulltown, Capacitor, and Labs. Remember, a lot of these POIs are going to be popular one game and not in the next. It all depends on the flight path of the ship. In order to have a successful hot drop, you want to get there quicker than others, so you can grab the loot before anyone else and shoot them. Well, there's 2 simple tricks that you can do to make this happen. Trick number 1. You can use the ping system to know when to drop. You want to ping the exact location you want to land and loot from. And once the ping distance becomes closer to 480, you want to launch off the dropship straight towards the location. This will ensure you're the first one to land and grab the loot. Trick number 2. You can land even faster by hitting certain objects on the map to allow you to move faster down towards the loot. There are many spots on popular POIs that you can hit to make you fall faster towards the loot. In this game, when you hit an object, you fall much faster if you would land normally, so you're able to get to the loot faster. You have to really experiment on this one and find out which ones are effective. Some are also character dependent and only work for certain characters like Horizon because of her passive, which allows her to negate fall stun. This trick is super helpful in getting the loot before your opponents and surely help you to get the upper hand in gunfights when hot dropping. Here are some of the ones that I like to use in famous POIs. I may make one for every POI in a future video. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see that. This is very important tip that gets me a lot of kills and damage off drop. You want to always choose a spot to land where there is ground loot and not bin loot. The reason is because you're able to pick up loot faster if it's on the ground. If you're grabbing loot in a bin, you have to open the bin and then there's a delay and then you have to pick up the loot. And sometimes there might not even be a gun inside the loot bin, which wastes a lot more time and there's a higher chance that your opponent will have a gun before you. So when you're landing to hot drop, try your best to prioritize ground loot. When I'm landing in a hot drop POI, I take a look at the ground loot first when it loads in. If I see a gun, I immediately go for that instead. This allows me to get the gun first and begin shooting my opponent before they even have time to loot. This is super important, but it's always not ideal. Sometimes you will notice that the ground loot does not have a gun, but it has ammo and meds instead. Or white shields. Why, Respawn? So you will need to opt for bin loot and hope that there's a gun inside. This leads me to my next tip. I see so many players not do this tip. They rather go for a gun and go gun-ho off drop when they only have like 20 bullets or no ammo or just a gun and they run to push a fight. If you're able to loot ammo and meds before you push a fight, do so. Sometimes you can't and you need to fight immediately. That's understandable. But if you're able to quickly loot some ammo/meds while others are fighting, do so before you push the fight. This is going to cause you to get the upper hand on loot because they may not even have any and they're going to be low on HP with no loot while you have a bit more loot and full HP. Always important to know a POI's loot pool potential. Where is each loot pool located? Which ones have a lot next to each other? You never want to land in a spot that only has one loot pool and the next one is far away as f. You want to land where there is a lot of loot pools together. This is going to increase the chances of you getting the loot you need to fight. If you bank your drop on one loot pool, you're going to lose based on RNG. And you want to decrease the RNG and make it in your favor by landing in a heavy loot pool spots. Like mentioned before, you don't need to grab a gun and then quickly push it every time. Sometimes you could just take it a bit slow and grab a little bit of loot before you fight. And it all depends on this next tip. This one might sound very self-explanatory, but it's going to help you make best decisions when hot dropping. When you're landing in a spot, you want to see where the other teams are landing. What loot spots are they taking from? How many loot pools are there that they're landing and looting from? How many teammates landed together? Are they contesting the loot together or are they separated? These are extremely important questions to ask yourself when landing and noticing the other teams. The answer to these questions is going to inform your decisions off drop. If you notice that one person is landing with you and contesting with you, you gotta push that person right away and don't waste time looting. If you notice that they landed bits away, you have time to loot and need to loot because you're going to be outnumbered and you need the loot to win the fight. Make sure you keep these questions in mind when landing and you will make better decisions when landing. Honestly, this has caused me to die so many times. When I'm playing with randoms, they always seem to land exactly with me and contest my loot pools. This causes both of us not to get enough loot or maybe not get a gun at all. When landing, do not contest your teammates' loot unless you have to. If you're able to land in another loot pool section, do so. Always make sure it's not super near or super far. It should be in the same POI but a different loot pool section. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. If you follow these tips, you'll be better at hot dropping guaranteed. I hope you all learned something from the video and got those brains thinking on how you can improve your hot drops. I honestly enjoy talking about strategy and how to get better. If you want to catch me live and ask me questions, stop by my Twitch channel at Faide_Uno. If you want to catch more guides from me, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I hope you guys all have a safe holiday, and I catch you guys in the next one. Peace!